superdelegates. So who knows? It stays interesting. Scoop, good to see you.
Good to see you.
For more on this, Chris Plant is a syndicated radio talk show host. Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor, and also a syndicated radio talk show host. All right, Leslie, you're the Democrat on the panel, so let's talk about Hillary and Bernie Sanders, because one thing that's for sure, there's this Bernie momentum that's going on. Do you feel now like there's a Hillary momentum that's going to start a little bit more?
I feel that we've had a Hillary momentum all along, but I do feel that Senator Sanders needs to be credited for the race that he has won thus far, and that he has far exceeded expectations. I think perhaps even his own, and perhaps even his own campaign's expectations. But you know, if you look at numbers, and I know a lot of people say super delegates when she has more than 500, even if you take those away, she is hundreds of delegates ahead of him, over 2 million votes ahead of him. And despite a lot of negative press, which she certainly gets a lot more of than Senator Sanders, she's been running a very good campaign, and she has millions of people showing up to vote for her. She's doing quite well.
Yeah, albeit that said, that, you know, the expectations, I think, of her campaign originally was that this thing would have been wrapped up a heck of a long time ago. But I want you to take a look at this graph, both of you. Chris, I'm going to come to you next, though, because this chart shows Hillary Clinton's rising unpopularity the longer that we go into this campaign. It's up now to 56% from down in the 20s months ago. So, Chris, how do we explain this for Hillary Clinton, that the longer she's in the race and looking like the nominee, the more unpopular she is?
Yeah, it's certainly not good news for Hillary in the campaign. And, you know, all due respect to Hillary, it started out as a coronation and nobody could touch her. And the reality is that Democrats have no appetite for Hillary. There's no enthusiasm. And, you know, to know her is apparently to dislike her, because the more people get to know her, the more exposure she has as a presidential candidate to the American people, the more, and it's not just Republicans, it's Democrats too, there's just something that people don't like about her. She lacks charm. She said recently that she's not the natural politician that Barack Obama and Bill Clinton are, and that's obviously true. But it's more than that. She's just, she lacks charisma, likability, and that's important in a politician.
Well, and Leslie, what do we do? What do we do if you're in the Hillary camp or you're advising her? What do they do to try and get the support potentially of the Bernie Sanders fans? Because one of the main reasons why some people think Bernie Sanders got to be so popular was because people didn't like Hillary, or at least they weren't enthused.
Right.
It might be a combination of things. But let's say now Bernie Sanders stays in or gets out. Either way, how do you thrill his supporters to suddenly like Hillary Clinton?
Well, there's a few things here, Gretchen. I mean, first of all, yeah, those are not good numbers. Those are negative. But Trump's are worse, 69%, and I think he'll be on that platform opposite her. With regard to Bernie Sanders and his supporters, Senator Sanders has a lot of responsibility here with regard to that. He, in the beginning, had said he would support her if she were the nominee, and she has said and continues to say that. They both said they better a Democrat in the White House than a Republican, or certainly a Donald Trump. But he needs to bang that drum louder. I mean, when he has said things, even though he backpedaled on she's not qualified to be president, when he has said nobody cares about your darn emails, and then he questions her judgment, he needs to stand and be strong with regard to this person and this party, and that's hard. One of the reasons he's popular is not just the dislike of Hillary Clinton by some of his supporters, which is evident, but it's because they view him, even though he's been in Washington, a politician most of his life, as an anti-Washington, anti-Democrat outsider.
But he's been in Washington for decades, so I have trouble wrapping my head around that outsider image of him. So Chris, what do you think? Do his supporters automatically go to Hillary Clinton? Because the interesting thing is, a lot of times in these exit or entrance polls, these independent voters, they say that they're deciding between Trump or Sanders.
Right. I think that, generally speaking, the Democrat Party will certainly gather behind Hillary Clinton, but will all these 20-something millennials who love the Bernie message, as misguided as it is, will they flock to Hillary Clinton? And there are serious indications that they will not, that they simply don't like her, that they find her very distasteful. And if I could address one thing that Leslie said also, that Donald Trump's negatives are higher. It's true, but then Leslie also, at the moment they are, also went to the fact that Bernie's the outsider. When you've got Hillary versus Donald Trump standing on a stage, if it comes to that, Donald Trump's the outsider, and Hillary Clinton is an entrenched Washington, been here since most of America America was young.
It's a good point, as well as the fact that their high negatives may actually erase each other. It could just be a wash. Leslie and Chris, so much to talk about. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.